Just puts up a three. Won't go. Rebound Bosh. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Oh yeah. We packing somebody up tonight. Hey. Come on in, take your shoes off before we close the door. Few rules, heat pack in the air, we about to blow. This the basement, ain't nobody safe, you already know. Grab a seat and kick your feet before you get too comfortable. You want the X's and the O's, the trade, yes and no. Friends and the foes, the butlers and the heroes. You can feel it in your soul, but when the ring is the goal. But if somebody need to go, we be sure to let you know. Going hard for my dogs is an everyday thing. Like Jimmy down the lane of 13 off the screen. Whole squad keep it tucked like number 17. Bring your takes and your memes, going hard for the team. Going down in the basement. It's going down in the basement. Get your takes off. Get your takes off. Going down in the basement.
What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Basement Sports Network. And if you have a Wemby agenda, then I know you're feeling good tonight. Me, on the other hand, I do want to start off with an apology because I was one of those bums in the offseason that didn't think the upgrade over from Mitchell to Tyler was worth it. Could not have been more wrong, even though Mitchell didn't do a lot tonight. But we'll get into that because we got some really special guests with us. First of all, we have Miami Heat Twitter legend, the guy that everybody wants to hear from. We have Alex Sheltman. Alex, how you doing today, my guy?
I thought that was going to the other guy next to me, but hey, I'll take that. I'm not really
you're such
feeling
a
anything. I'm not feeling anything at this point, man. Like this was an expected L. This season was expected to this point. I'm not really sure what to say beyond like I'm not surprised, but I'm also not disappointed because I wasn't expecting much. So
same exact page. Adam knew exactly where I was going with that. So the guy who uses the word spaz, how you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing good. You want to explain why you're not black and you're not royal?
Yeah, so apparently Royal doesn't show up to work when the Heat don't show up to work either. That's why he took the last couple of days off. But they let me be here today.
Racist, but go on.
I'm what?
That was racist, but go on.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 minutes and 27 seconds into the show. We have our first racist accusation from the guy Adam Barai. But we do have a good show planned, and we got some great guests, and we might even do a little bit of call-ins later. But first, I want to start by asking you guys just their overall thoughts on the game. And really, my most important question is, are you even the littlest bit surprised? Because this is quite honestly exactly how I expected the game to go down. We'll go ahead and start with Alex again. Alex, you said you weren't surprised, but did you expect it to be this bad?
Yeah, I did really. I thought this was going to be a blowout from the start. I didn't come in from last game when we had nobody with a moral victory, like, oh, they kept it close. They shouldn't have even been in this game type of deal. No, like you go out and you try to win the game.
In the background,
yeah.
Can you go
we got people all on Twitter. We got moral victories. We're up to 2 this week. We had one after last game when we lost. Now we got a second one after we got blown out this game. You play to win, and if you don't win, it doesn't matter that you still took the L. And as someone that's on the Wemby agenda, I'm fine with that. So I came into this game, I knew we were shorthanded. That's fine. There's still certain things you look for, and I'm not seeing any effort from half the dudes out there. I'm seeing Haywood Highsmith get minutes over Jovic, which is just an absolute embarrassment. Caleb Martin is the backup point guard when he's got handle like bricks for hands. It's the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. I don't care if Spoelstra is given shit to work with. Why don't we give him something good to work with? Why don't we go into an offseason and, do something with the offseason? It's just, I'm done past this point. If you have high expectations for this season, I suggest you reevaluate and take a step back and then go from there, because this team is not going anywhere. This is a second round exit at best. And if you're cool with that, be my guest, but that's not good enough for me.
I don't know if there's people that still have high expectations. If you are one of those people, then you have to get your head checked. I understand the preseason hype, but quite honestly, now there is absolutely nothing you could say to have any sort of optimism, even though, yeah, we had the couple guys out. That's why you got the moral victory counter. But they have a lot other issues that Jimmy playing tonight and Tyler playing tonight would not have solved. Adam, surprised at all about tonight's outcome?
No, not surprised. And I think we still would have gotten the same result had Jimmy and Tyler been playing. They just came out really flat, and they didn't play with any energy outside of Bam, I think. They just felt like they were there just to be there, and that it doesn't matter honestly what players you put on the court. The result would have been the same: 15, 20, 30-point loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. For a team, by the way, that we already have matchup issues regardless, even if those two players were playing. So the fact that wasn't really even the thought or the consideration or the reason why the Heat lost is even more concerning.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say too, because the Heat got out rebounded by 19. You look at that, you expect Jared Allen to have 15 to 20 boards. Same with Evan Mobley. Those guys didn't kill you tonight. Now, Mobley had a nice game. He had 15 and 10, but still only 10 boards. Jared Allen, he didn't do too much, only 8 and 6 from him. Then you say, okay, maybe Donovan Mitchell went off, maybe Darius Garland. Mitchell with 13, Garland with a quiet 25. It was a lot of the other guys that beat you, and very clearly this team, they did not look like they were playing at the same level of the Cavaliers, even a little bit. They look like they have a very talented roster.
It was a different sport.
Not even the same sport. And right. When you saw when Kyle Lowry went out of that game and you had Caleb Martin as the backup point guard, my God, was that some ugly, ugly basketball, the kind of shots they were settling for. I do want to shout out our guy, as Royal calls, the nasty man, Darius Jordan, for the $30 donation, who said we have an Adam sighting. Yes, sir. Always exciting. And you know when you see Adam.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Alex. Yeah, you heard that too, right?
Yeah.
What happened?
We're down to 2. You good?
Can you not see me?
No, you're good now. You're good.
Oh, okay.
Cut out.
I was going to say, it's particularly exciting when we have Adam when the team is extra bad because, the trades are extra juicy and everybody's hyped up to get some of that. But we're going to keep this panelist discussion short because we will do some call-ins so we can hear what some other people are thinking as we look like we may have hit rock bottom. And that's coming the day before we play Minnesota, which we never win, but we'll get into our previews a little bit later. But one topic that I do want to talk about in particular, because we didn't do a post game for the last game versus the Wizards, and Nikola Jovic had a pretty solid game. Tonight he was a little more quiet, but this has been a big debate on Twitter and just in the basement for the last couple of weeks too. And so I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. We'll start with Alex. Do you like what Jovic is bringing so far this season? Do you feel like he's ready to contribute or even play the starting 4?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we are playing an 8-man rotation in November, so it doesn't matter if he's ready or not. He should still be getting run, in my opinion, regardless. But that said, I do think he's ready to contribute. I've seen enough from him offensively where I feel like he can move the ball. He can space the floor a little bit. The shot wasn't going down tonight, but he got good looks. So the ball was moving when he was in. I saw him make that one cut where Lowry hit him and then he dished to Bam for the 16-footer on the wing. How many 7-foot, front court guys can do that? Like Bam and Jovic together. There's very few in the league, if any, that have 2 guys that can do that. And so, yeah, he's a little raw defensively and he doesn't really know where he needs to be defensively. But this issue that we have offensively is we have a ball sticking issue. And when you bring a guy in like Jovic, where he can swing the ball, move it around, space the floor a little bit, that opens things up. It also gives us some size. So it feels like the 2 things we've been lacking this year, Jovic brings. And for whatever reason, Spo just doesn't want to play him. He'd rather play Haywood Highsmith. So I do think he can contribute. I like what I've seen from him. I think giving him more minutes will allow him to grow. And he is still a project player, but we're playing 8 guys. Play the guy.
Yeah, I agree with partially what you said and disagree with the other part. One thing I do agree with, like you said, is the offense looks very well with him out there. You don't have the ball sticking issue. We saw some brilliant passes from Jovic. As soon as he gets the ball, swinging it, little touch passes. And when you get that kind of quick ball movement, that's how you really break down a defense. Because obviously, we all know the cliche, the ball moves faster than the defense. But it's true. It's really true. So I would like to see him get some more run, particularly next to Bam, like you said, because that adds a really great dynamic on offense that you don't get with Caleb. But I keep hearing this all the time that he brings size. Just because he's 6'10" doesn't mean he brings size. He gets cooked on the inside. He gets bodied by dudes that are shorter than him. He can't get more than 3 or 4 rebounds a game. That's what he had tonight. He's pretty terrible in that regard. It almost looks like Caleb Martin is even better at guarding up, but they both suck. But regardless, it wasn't working with Caleb Martin. The guys kind of convinced me because I had a differing opinion last time that he shouldn't be starting, but why not try it? He does bring a nice dynamic to the offense that I like. And before we get to Adam over here, I want to shout out Belinsky Pierre, who said, if you say don't panic, please stop. no effort, team mid AF, defense is mid, everybody else got better, and we run it back. We've heard this all the time, and it's become more and more true. This is giving 2021 vibes. Why? Because it's virtually the same exact roster. And you really see this all throughout the league with other franchises. You can only bring back the same roster so many times before guys start to get tired of each other. It's true. And if you don't switch it up, even sometimes a small move or a couple small moves just to kind of energize everybody and get some new and fresh blood in there can kind of help out. But it's very clear this team's tired of each other, even starting to get some vibes of the 2014 Heat, even though that team obviously went to the finals. That's some other stars, but you can tell when guys started to get tired of each other, and they did not have this effort issue last year. And I think PJ Tucker is part of that, but it's clearly not the full reason. Now, Adam, I don't know if I would call it an agenda, but I believe you have some sort of opinion on Nikola Jovic and whether he should be starting or not. So what's kind of your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an agenda, but I just think that this is where the Heat are headed, regardless of whether we like it or not. The Heat should definitely start Jovic at the 4. And it's not because I think that he is the path to them winning games. It's because he is the path moving forward that would leave the Heat in the best position possible. Nikola Jovic right now is not ready. Him in 3 months won't be ready. Him in 6 months won't be ready for the Heat to have him be in a starting role for a championship level team. This team is not a championship level team, and it's not even close. I don't think they're even 2 starters away from being a championship level team. So there is no harm for me in starting Jovic now, getting him those reps, getting him ready. And if it comes with some offensive explosion that leads the Heat being a well-oiled machine on offense, so be it. That's a plus. That's a great thing. But as it stands right now, Jovic not starting and not really being much in the rotation for a guy like Haywood, Highsmith, or, like Orlando Robinson, Dewayne Dedmon, those guys are getting more run than a guy like Jovic, to me is concerning. And I think that that's something that Spo really needs to sit down and think about. Maybe he's taking his time to get Jovic there, but from what we've seen over the first 10 or 12 games of the season so far, is he's there. He's ready to start over those guys or take the role from those guys, no matter the shortcomings, no matter how bad on defense he is. It's just this team isn't ready. And if you're losing by 30 to the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're at a point right now where it doesn't matter what you do. You need to have something positive flowing for this team.
Yeah, there's certainly no downside that I can think of to starting Jovic, because if anything, he gets reps. That's how you're going to get better. And obviously, like you said, he's not going to be ready in 3 months, particularly with his size. That's something that's going to take a couple years for him to really achieve his full potential, just from a physicality standpoint. But even aside from reps, I mean, I'm kind of at the point I'd like to see him build his trade value a little bit. So maybe showcase a little bit, because he's a guy that I think some teams might be able to not fall in love with, but maybe see some potential, because he's a guy that can do a lot. That was my next point. Is I know you said this team is not a starter away, maybe not even 2 starters away, but the name I kind of been holding on to, I don't know if this is by a single strand or if there's some validity to it, but that Brooklyn team looks terrible. I know they won tonight, but Kyrie Irving came back, and it's only a matter of time before the next drama with him happens. I can't, and especially what KD came out and said, just being blatantly disrespectful and going as far to name his other teammates that he thinks is ass. So there's no confusion about it. He went straight out and said it. That's something I've never heard before, that kind of direct of a call out where he went to say names. He's very clearly frustrated. That's the guy I want. Now, everybody would probably argue you're not winning the championship even if you get him. Well, I guess if you're able to keep Bam in that trade, maybe people would think differently. But that's kind of the guy I want. Jovic right now, he's more of just a toss-in than anything. But if he's able to have a good couple months, get a lot of run, and maybe he's something that could kind of swing the pendulum if Brooklyn is between 2 teams there. I do want to shout out Luke Apollon, who said, or Apollon, I don't know the ethnicity there. But for the $4.99 dono, who said, Highsmith is not an NBA player. I don't care who jersey he stole. The NBA stage is too big for him. Some guys are just college or G League level players, not NBA. He's a guy that I found particularly frustrating. I kind of want to get into him a little bit later, because what I want to do next. But thank you for the $4.99.
No, I don't. We're not getting into Haywood Highsmith. Let's not give him any shine. No.
Well, I'll go ahead and start us off here because I was going to go around and kind of pick a player we each could talk about here for a minute.
Not Haywood. Don't talk about Haywood.
It's not as much about Haywood. It's about the front office. All right. My gripe with them is that they gave this bum a 3-year deal for no reason whatsoever. And they had a chance to waive him in the offseason. I suppose they still do. I don't know the logistics of the cap. I don't know if that's something you're aware of either. But they gave him a 3-year deal and he's shown absolutely nothing. Now, when they did give him that 3-year deal, I thought he was one of those guys that was probably doing a lot in practice and we'd see it in the games, and maybe he is. But so far, it hasn't translated to the game at all. He was terrible in that game versus the Wizards, even though he hit that huge 3. Couldn't make a layup, couldn't hit an open shot. Even today, airballing wide open 3-pointers. He quite literally does nothing out there. So the fact that they got money tied up in multi-year deals for him is annoying. But again, I understand it's minimal money, and he could probably be thrown into any trade that they might make. So he is frustrating to me just because of the contracts that this team is giving out to guys like max or big money to guys like Duncan who suck, and then guys like Highsmith who don't even look like an NBA player, like Luke was saying. Alex, you got someone from tonight you want to give a spotlight on for a couple minutes here?
Yeah, I guess I'll give it to Bam. I mean, he was like the only positive looking player out there for, I guess I'll bring the one little tidbit of positivity to this stream. Bam was really hot early. I think he was 4 of 6 to start. He took 2 free throws early. Then he just stopped being aggressive, which is something he usually does. But then in that third quarter, a little bit, he was starting to be more aggressive again. We need that consistently, and it's something we're going to continue to say. I have a feeling for the next 6 to 8 months, maybe hopefully not into next year. But yeah, like Bam's the only positive thing on this team in my mind for the whole season, if you ask me. And I think, Bam should be getting 25 shots a game. And I don't care if that's at the downside of this team. Get Bam 25 shots every single night.
Yeah, I personally don't think it's at the downside, but I also don't think it's a coaching thing. I think it's a Bam thing. I think Spo would love if Spo doesn't necessarily put that system around him. We have seen that too, but we've still seen Bam rely a little bit on the dribble handoff a little too much. Not tonight, though. I mean, tonight I thought it was pretty fantastic. Came out the gates very strong early, something we wish we would have saw from Jimmy when Bam and Tyler been out. But Bam started off strong, only played 26 minutes because obviously it was a blowout, but 21 points, 6 rebounds. I thought he was probably the only positive out there. Adam, you want to spotlight someone for tonight?
I do. He was somebody that was at the game, didn't play for either team. That's Kobe Altman. He made the moves to put the Cavs in a position to be where they are right now. He made that daring move for Donovan Mitchell, and I think that is the player of the game for me. And I think that, for as much of a hole that LeBron left the Cavs in, they really rebounded well. They knew when to tank. They knew when to lose and when to strike right. And so losing LeBron was always a big deal. The Heat lost LeBron in 2014, but they knew when to lose and when to stay tanking and as a lottery team until the time was right. And the time is right for them now, and they're going to be a really good team for the next few years. Yeah,
you mentioned losing LeBron. That's probably the only thing that could save this team. But unfortunately, King James is not walking through that door. But you know who is? James Poe of Simple Health Advisors. That's right. Shopping for life insurance does not have to be complicated. They have life insurance. They have Medicare. They got everything that you need. So make sure to give our guy James Poe a call at 321-345-7738. You can let him know the basement sent you. Or if you just want to send an email, you can get some more information by emailing him at jpoe@simplehealthadvisors.com. So make sure to give our guy a call. Shout out to James for putting the face palm emoji. I hope you like the transition, James Poe. Anyways, we got our guy Alex who's showing up here. Alex, tell us how you doing. Tell us your overall thoughts on this game. I know they ain't positive, but I'll go ahead and let you ramble for a couple minutes.
I was just trying to enjoy my night until I saw St. Mary's School for the Blind try to play some basketball tonight. That was a lot of fun to watch a 30, 40, 50, 60-point loss. That's what it felt like. This team is absolutely fucking trash. I'm sure y'all have already talked about that, but I just have to get this off my chest. This is an organizational failure from top down that we have not seen since I was like 4 fucking years old. This is a joke. People need to be held accountable. We got to make trades now. I'm sure y'all have already discussed this. There are multiple players on this team that need to be moved. Like, there need to be multiple moves made, not just one. I'm not even content with just one move now. I need like 3-4 moves at this point because this is a complete fucking joke. There was no effort tonight, which is what, the Heat preach. All these undrafted guys, we're going to dog you. We're going to keep it close. And then, we face a talented team, like the Cleveland Cavaliers, who traded for a very talented player, Donovan Mitchell, very talented point guard, Darius Garland, very talented big man, Evan Mobley. And they absolutely took us to the fucking woodshed, as they should. We are nowhere near contention. We're closer to the Magic than we are the Celtics right now, bro. And it is absolutely fucking sad. Pick a direction, stick with it, go with it. We got no money, barely any picks, and no talent. This is fucking crazy. The Dolphins have better management right now. It's insane that I'm saying this, but bro, this team is cooked in every way, shape, and form outside of Bam Adebayo on 70% of games and Jimmy Butler in the playoffs. This team is absolutely fucking cooked. Tyler Herro got money and decided he didn't want to play. Pat Riley got old and decided he forgot how to be a GM. Mickey Arison decided Carnival stock is in the fucking toilet. We're not spending money anymore. FTX decided to fold. What is going this team's fucking way right now? Pick a direction. Get this shit out of here. You're absolutely right. It's a football town.
Alex, it's only the 17th game. As Darius Jordan says. So shout out to our guy Darius for the $2 dono. No worries. It's only the 17th game. Darius, I definitely sense your sarcasm there, but we're all feeling the same way. And if anybody genuinely has this thought of thinking, is wrong. It's stupid. There's no other way to say it. Shout out to our guy James Poe for the $5 dono who said #trade the vets, except for Bam. So again, when you talk a little bit about trades, Alex, chat's starting to talk about trades. Our guy James Poe here mentioned a little bit. So we do have.
Is that what we're gonna do? Well, is that what we're gonna?
I'm gonna set it up for Collins. You about it?
Are we gonna turn the show into a organizational failure, salaries, trades type of post game? Is that what we're gonna do?
It's either that or Highsmith. Take your pick.
Oh my God, Highsmith!
Look, I'll do it. I'm in. I have the team payroll right in front of me. We can talk about this all night. We'll do call-ins. I can give my opinion on what I think this team should do. Let's do it.
Perfect. Well, while we got the guy Adam Barai here, the guy everyone wants to hear from, we also got another trade expert, Alex Sheltman. If y'all are not listening to the Random Scrub Heat podcast, also with Alex Maserati down below, they do have, or Alex Sheltman on the top, does have his very own trade segment, so we got some knowledge there over well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and put the number on the screen to call in. If you want to call in, if you want to hear from Alex Sheltman, Alex Maserati, and of course, Adam Barai, make sure to call in and you'll be here with our questions. I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute. I'll let these guys talk. I think we got a banner over here with the number 2. So I'll go ahead and put myself on mute. I'll go ahead and handle these phone numbers. I'll let these guys talk about some of the comments we saw in the chat. And when we get a caller in the line, we'll go ahead and bring you on to talk to the guys. So I'm going to go on mute. Alex, you can take it, or Adam, you can take it.
Yeah, I'm going to assume I'm taking over. We haven't done this in a while, so if it's a little choppy, please excuse us. I don't know what signal Ant's going to give us to tell us he's ready, but let's talk about this team. So Max Strus and Gabe Vincent, to me, are very pressing matters as to whether or not they're going to be on this team next year. I believe neither of them are restricted. They're both unrestricted, right, Alex?
Yeah, they're both UFA.
Yeah, so to me, that's a very big concern because I don't think you're extending the two of them and keeping Kyle, Duncan, Vic, and the rest of this roster. So we know that trades are coming already. I don't have any names. I don't have any players that they've already looked at, since the players that they do want to trade aren't even trade eligible yet. They will be soon, but they aren't right now. So the fact that this team can't really do anything, Tyler can't be traded unless it's some immaterial move that needs 4 or 5 teams to do, which is still possible, but I don't think that's even a remote possibility at this point. So to me, right now, what we need to consider and concern ourselves is whether or not we're getting Max and Gabe on this roster. I think if you're going to keep Kyle, that means Gabe is the one that has to go. But to me, it's Kyle Lowry that needs to be moved either this season or this off season, and it's something that would be refreshing to this team if you had a new starting point guard. You have someone ready? Okay.
Go ahead, Kamal. What's your question, man?
Okay, And my question is at what point do you just say, blow it up, trade Jimmy Butler, trade Kyle Lowry, keep your young players like Jovic, Tyler, Bam, and just get as much assets you can back for your role players and just try and build a new core? Because I think I don't think they have an option of getting trading Kyle Lowry and getting that much better. The only option to me is you have to just look at in the mirror and be like, we failed in this window, and trade Jimmy before he completely makes the roster unusable.
Is that a question for anyone, or do you have anyone in particular?
That's just a question for the panel.
Yep.
I'll take it. I've been the biggest proponent of trading Jimmy Butler. I've been trying to say it for the last 2-3 weeks now. We should unload Jimmy Butler for 3 picks or more and a young player from another team. The team I'm looking at most of the time is Memphis. I feel like you can get 3 picks from Memphis and either Desmond Bane or Jaren Jackson Jr. I am a strong proponent of trading Jimmy Butler right now. I think the window is closed on the Jimmy Butler timeline on the Heat. There's no shame in admitting that. We gave it a good run. We had a shot. We had a better shot than we thought we were honestly going to have with the roster that we had. No one thought we were going to make the finals. No one thought we were taking it to game 6 in the finals. So I'm on board trading Jimmy Butler now, building Bam's aggressiveness for the rest of this year, maybe building Tyler Herro's trade value a little bit as he would be the second piece or the 1A, 1B type of option as well. And then you go into the offseason with 6 or 7 trade picks, first round picks. And you have a young asset like Jaren Jackson Jr., who you can either stay with or you can pivot to somewhere else. So I am big on that. I don't know if Adam or Alex Maserati want to hop in on that, but that's where I'm at.
I am not necessarily opposed to that. I don't want to say it's too early to trade Jimmy Butler, but I don't know. After the extension, I think Trilly said it on his Twitter account. Can the Heat find a way to 2018 Cavs this thing, make multiple moves, bring in a flush of different players, see if it can blend for a year? I'm more inclined to do that than get rid of Jimmy Butler just because what he's done in the playoffs, what he's been for us when he does go out there and give everything he's got. Kyle Lowry, though, I think that would require moving Kyle Lowry this season if possible. Any of these guys this season if possible outside of Jimmy and Bam. And I guess Herro, but I would try to 2018 Cavs this thing before we move off of Jimmy just yet. In the offseason, we missed the playoffs. It doesn't go well. Absolutely, you start entertaining the idea, though.
So I'll say this, and I've been trying to hold off on saying this for the whole entire season thus far, and I guess now is the time to go onto this train. But I think the Heat this season have shown to me that they've failed Jimmy and failed to put the talent required around him to win a championship. We saw the last 3 years with Jimmy on this team that he can be the best player on a championship team, and I never thought that. Going into that first year, even the second year with Jimmy here, I never even thought for a second that Jimmy could be your best player. And then when I was in the arena when he dropped 50 on the Celtics in Game 6. I was there and I watched it happen. And that was when it came to me and I said, yeah, Jimmy can be that guy. You just need to have the rest of the roster around him. They did a great job finding Max. They found a great job finding Gabe. Duncan, even when that time happened. Tyler's rookie year was phenomenal when Jimmy first showed up. They found players that fit Jimmy's timeline at the time that they found them. But they refused to build around the talent that they found. They refused to include those players in the right deals to get Jimmy the talent that he needed. And so in that regard, they failed him. They didn't fail him years 1 or 2. I think those years went perfectly as planned, and it was a surprise, I would say, to that team to even have made it to the finals in year 1, and there was good reason for them to think that in the second year that they would make it even further or go back to the finals, even though they got bounced in the first round to the Bucks. So I think this year so far has been a real gut check to this team, and I'm on board, and I was on board this summer when Donovan Mitchell in particular got traded to the Cavs. And this is the perfect time to bring that up because we just lost by 30 to the Cavs. Jimmy Butler, your window has closed with the Miami Heat. and your window to make it past the second round. And look, if I'm wrong about this, I would love to be wrong, and you guys can post this all over Twitter or wherever you want to after the Heat make it past the second round. But right now, this team is losing in the first round. They're not even close to being a competitive team at the moment. And so when Donovan Mitchell got traded, to me, that signaled, okay, this is the end of the Jimmy Butler era, because you're not putting the right players around him. You're not getting that talent back. You have two guys who had great value in Max and Gabe, who are now going to be traded for less than what they could have, or you're going to extend them for large deals, which will hamper you from getting future talent, because if you sign them, you can't trade them, and that whole circle and that circus that we're going to have to go through. Tyler Herro, you can't trade him this year. Kyle Lowry has an albatross of a contract until this offseason. So if we're going to play the waiting game, you can do the waiting game, but Jimmy's going to get older and his injuries are going to persist. So if you want to take the smart approach, the smartest thing you could do is move Jimmy Butler right now, because if we think right now, these 3 or 4 games that he's missed because of injury are going to be the last 3 or 4 games that he's missed this season, where the Heat are still, 11th, 12th, 10th, whatever it is in the East, you're very much mistaken. And I know that all the standings right now are really close and they're really clumped together. And I mean, that bodes well for the Heat's, for the front office's belief that this team can turn it around. But look, I know that it doesn't sound right, but the first 15, 20 games of the season do typically tell the story of the season. And you can point to the Celtics last year where they started off horribly and ended up making the finals, but they're the one outlier. Typically, when you start out well, that is the story of the season. And if you start out poorly or choppy, chances are you're not going to be a good team. And this team has shown us that they are a 500 team in a loaded Eastern Conference where everyone either got better because their youth has progressed or because they made moves to comply with a better East as a whole. And this Heat team has not done so. They could have gotten a Jeremy Grant. They could have gotten a Christian Wood to try to match up and size up with the bigger guys. And Jeremy Grant has been phenomenal with the first place Portland Trailblazers, by the way. But they chose not to. And maybe that's by design. Maybe they are aware of this, and that's why they signed Jovic and didn't move him. And maybe they want to hold on to Jovic as the starting 4 and not include him into a trade because they know that this time is coming. Who knows? Who knows what the grand plan is? But the plan right now isn't working. You can't stick. Harry says this all the time on the timeline. You cannot stay on the path that you're on right now. You can't. You either have to go up and make some sort of move with the 2023 first, with Jovic, with one of these players, Gabe, Max, Kyle, one of these moves, or you have to tank. And you have to trade these players right now for what they're worth and recoup value and find something in Bam as a number 1 option or a number 2 option. But sitting as status quo right now and letting guys like Gabe and Max expire as free agents and then go off to the Magic or the Hornets or wherever they go, that's not the answer. And if that is the answer, this team is going to look ugly really, really quickly when you have a 34-year-old Jimmy Butler making $50 million and Kyle Lowry at 37 making $29 million and Tyler, who's going to miss 20, 30 games a season, making $30 million, and Duncan making $18 million. You can go on and on and on, but this team isn't it. I don't know why you're putting that up there. It's clear they have their own 2023 first, and I don't think they should trade it. If you want my direct and honest opinion, this is as honest as I'm going to be right now. Do not trade a first-round pick. Don't trade any of them. Trade away players. Okay, if you can package a few players and get a young player in return, if you can get a John Collins, sure, but don't move anything of significant value. But right now, this team, I wouldn't recommend trading stuff for a marginal upgrade at this point because this team has shown me that they are not a championship contender. They're not an Eastern Conference Finals contender. They are an average team that has missed its window.
Before I get into some thoughts on that and some more callers, I want to shout out a couple of donations we got. Shout out to somebody for the $2 dono who said, paying old overweight point guard and fraud Duncan equals disaster. Yes, of course, when Adam was talking about failing Jimmy Butler, these are two of the things that is a terrible contract that certainly didn't put this team in any sort of position to win. The question I do bring up, though, with regards to Lowry is how much of that is on the front office, how much of that is on Jimmy saying, get my boy in Miami. I personally believe, just from everything we know, I would tend to say majority of that is from Jimmy Butler saying, get my boy here, because I think the front office or organization very clearly might have tried to go a different direction, if not for that close connection they had. So I'm curious on your guys' thoughts for that. But
No. I think they were getting Kyle regardless. They wanted Kyle years in advance. When I'll just say this, when the bubble was going on, when he was going off, Kyle was going off against the Celtics in the second round, the Heat were preparing themselves to get Kyle Lowry. It wasn't from an initiative from Jimmy. There were murmurs and whispers going on way back when, 2 years before they even got him, that they were getting Kyle. So,
well, that's why we have Adam Barai here. And honestly, that Lowry was good. Unfortunately, they couldn't have got him 2 years prior than they did. Otherwise, this team might have been pretty solid. But there we go. Also, shout out to Darius Jordan for the $2 dono, who said, Jeremy, who? We love you, Darius. We love you, Darius Jordan, man. They could have got a lot of guys, like you said. I'm curious your thoughts on the other names you mentioned. If you guys want to talk a little bit more about John Collins or someone else we've heard like Kyle Kuzma. But we do have the line open right now again, so I'll go ahead and put this back up. If someone wants to call in and ask a specific question to Adam Barai or the guys, make sure to call in now, and we'll go ahead and get your call. And you can ask away, get these guys' thoughts, and have your questions answered. I'm going to go on mute, and if you guys call in, we'll go ahead and pick up.
Maybe I'm wrong on this, but like if they don't pay Herro, they're still in contention for anybody they would have wanted right now, right?
Not anybody, but I'm with you. But at the same time, let's say you don't pay Tyler, right? Who are you trading Tyler for that makes enough of an impact for you to be a contender?
No, that's fair. It's just like that's when they did that just signaled to me they're all in on this group, and then it just completely blew up in their face. So I was like, I don't see the problem.
Or I don't see it as they're all in on this group. I think they're all in on what they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it feels like we're asset poor, honestly. Like if Tyler Herro is your best trade chip and you only have 3 picks, you are very, very limited in what you can do. And that's why, for me at least, I am a strong proponent of what Adam sort of talked about, is getting as much value for Jimmy Butler as you can right now, and then look to see if Donovan Mitchell maybe decides to leave the Cavs when he becomes a free agent in a couple of years. He might not, but that is a possibility, and you will have assets to maneuver around through each offseason as you build up, Bam Adebayo's aggression, or maybe you can continue to move Tyler Herro for something in the future.
Yeah, and one more thing before we get to the caller. I know there's 170 people watching this stream right now, and I'm going to say this once and I'm not going to say it again. I bet you there's about 20% of you that still think that you can win a championship with Jimmy in this window, right? And that you can trade for a guy, you can trade Tyler and 2 or 3 first-round picks and get some sort of star in return or a really good impact player. And look, that sounds good and all, but are we forgetting that the New York Knicks have 12 first-round picks that they can trade? That's all I'll say.
And they're waiting. There's reports every day that they're waiting for the next guy. SGA, Fox, any of the dudes. You need someone to specifically ask, I want to play in Miami. I will never step foot in Madison Square Garden. I will never wear purple and orange. I promise you I will not sign a fucking extension. Like, you need De'Aaron Fox. You need SGA. You need one of those guys to do that. Otherwise, you're not, like you mentioned, we're not getting one of those top-end players unless it's through free agency, which you can't even participate in because Carnival stock is with FTX, and obviously we have no cap space on the payroll. So, bro, you gotta this is as bad as it gets, people. Like, for real, when it comes to management, like, you got pissed at Pat, like we all got pissed at Pat for handing out James Jones, Kelly Olynyk, Dion Waiters. Like, it's not that bad, but this is like number fucking 2. Like, this is really, really bad. And it started with the Duncan extension, which I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was like, absolutely don't do it. He was shooting the world. He was insane. He was shooting the lights out of the ball. Like, it was or out of the arena. It was insane. But now you're just stuck in a position. And Adam, you read all that money, especially with dudes at the age. And that was quite literally sickening to hear. That age, $50 million, whatever. Kyle Lowry at 37 making what he makes, Duncan Robinson, same thing. there has to be something made. They tell, put his calculator in the rafters, but like, dude, he's going to have to work. Like this is the only way. Andy's going to have to make some magic happen if they want a 2018 Cavs this thing, or they got to pick a direction. You mentioned not trading the 2023 first. You can't trade it. This draft class is deep. You've hit on draft picks in the last few years. You've overachieved even when you were towards not even in the lottery. God forbid you actually got a high draft pick. It could be good. So
we got a caller on the line here. We got Justin. Before we get to Justin, though, I want to shout out to Luke Apollyon for the $4.99 dono, who's asking for the Hail Mary, saying, please, Adam, talk about Highsmith. I need to hear your thoughts on how the Heat got finessed into giving this man a 3-year deal. Do you have any quick thoughts before we get to the caller, or you good?
I need a lot more than $5 to talk about that travesty. No.
I can't argue with that. Justin, go ahead and give these guys your question.
Okay, first off, I just want to say, man, shout out to the basement, man. It's Justo from Twitter. Long-time viewer, long-time supporter. Basically, my question is this, because I've just been, my mind has been wrapped around this for a few minutes now. I can't think of one true championship contender ever that has had as many dead roster spots that this current team has. I'm talking about UD, Depot, Highsmith. I mean, I can't think of one. And all the messaging that we heard coming out of this organization from before the year was, oh, they like their team, they're content, they're confident they can win with this roster. I can't think of one team that has had this much, dead roster spots. And at this point, I honestly don't know what the solution could possibly be. Do you guys mind speaking on? I know we basically have kind of beat the dead horse at this point, but I don't know. I'm at a loss for words just watching this right now. Somebody also just said Duncan is also a dead roster spot. Yeah, you could throw him in there too.
Dedmon, if you want to go there.
Herro,
you're at this point. No. Let's not go that far. All right.
Well, I watch basketball games and he's not out there.
Hey, Alex, that's your own kind there. All right, let's chill for a second. But no, let me respond. Justo, we really appreciate you. I don't think we've ever spoken before outside of the Twitter DMs and whatnot, but we really appreciate the support, and I know you had stuff going on. We really, really, really appreciate you tuning into every stream and every post game. I'm watching the streams. I might not be on it, but I see the comments, I see the replies. So we really appreciate you and everyone else that's in the comments right now. Look, this team, we're not going to keep beating the dead horse saying that this team needs wholesale changes. We all know that they do. They have a lot of dead roster spots. And I remember a few years ago, the concern that everybody had for this team was whether or not you trade the depth for a star, and whether or not that was something that you whether or not that was worth it. But I think what we're seeing now is the regression of those quality depth pieces that you had last year and the year before that. You're seeing that regression at the worst possible time because they're all going to be free agents and they're all playing without a purpose. Nobody really knows what their role is because it's constantly changing. Some of the players don't know if they're supposed to play fast, supposed to play slow, whether or not there's a youth movement going on with Jovic or not. So there are a lot of dead roster spots, and it's really unfortunate that this is how it's turning out. But I think this goes all the way back that when you're a championship contender and you have that sort of depth, you trade the depth for that star that becomes available, because depth comes every single year, and you can pick up players for basically nothing and put them in the rotation, and they're going to be just fine. We found Yurt out of nowhere, and Yurt did show us some stuff last year when Bam was out for an extended period of time. That was someone that they used. There was a lot of players last year that didn't play at all in the league, and they showed up last year and helped this team win the 1 seed. It wasn't one player, it was the entire team. And you can do that again this year. It just can't be with the same group of guys. So I'm going to go back to Harry, who has been right about this, and I don't know why everybody's been complaining about him being right. But When you have players that are playing at their maximum and you don't think you're going to extend them long term, you move them because you know you're going to have an opportunity to get more players like them in the future. Jamal Cain looks really good for his first week, 2 weeks, 2 months in the league. He looks good. He looks good. For a guy that you shouldn't expect anything from, it's fine for a guy like that. So that's just the most recent example. It's not the best example, but players do take a year or two to develop into something. We had Gabe Vincent on the roster for a year and a half before he started showing up and started playing well. Now he's a really good rotation player. Max Strus, same thing. Do you remember how horrible he looked in the first 2 or 3 months of the season? Horrible, unplayable, and then he developed into a player. We need to give that opportunity to newer and fresher guys. And when we see that one of those guys isn't panning out, cut bait. And I don't want to say his name, HH, I'll call him, but cut bait.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. Just another thing that no one seems to mention is like in the luxury tax era, there have been, I believe, 5 teams that did not pay the luxury tax that ended up winning an NBA title. And if everyone is aware, we are not currently paying the luxury tax this year because we'd rather have UD and an open roster spot than dip in for a 10-day and get into the tax. So, let's not kid ourselves here. That trend is probably going to continue. We are not in the luxury tax. We are probably not going to win the title. And so you run into this situation where you're just kind of circling the drain, waiting for something to happen.
Yep, and there's not many moves to be made, like when you're pressed up against the cap and you won't go into luxury tax. Like you saw what Golden State paid last year. They won a championship. All these teams will do that, and the Heat used to do that. They did when they were at the best, and they were winning year in, year out, and we're always in that talk or either winning the championship. And now things have changed. So blame it on Carnival, blame it on Mickey, blame it on whoever. But if you're not going to go into the luxury tax, you have to get creative and jump through hoops and maybe do things that are, make tough trades, like moving a guy like Strus, who has had a good year this year. But if you're not going to extend him, like we keep saying, you cannot lose guys for nothing. It's malpractice to do so. Yeah.
And before we get to the next card, I just want to make one more point. What I'm scared of right now as a Heat fan, as a general consumer of this team, I'm concerned that the Heat will make a move for the general fan and not for people who have a championship as the ultimate goal. My concern right now is that, a John Collins becomes available, including, the 2023 first, some other player, another pick, and they make a move and Mickey approves it because, excuse me, it gets people excited again. It gets people in the seats because that can royally mess up your future in the league. If you mess up a move just to keep fans happy for this year, that can screw you up big time. And that's what I'm afraid of this year that the Heat making. I bet you there is a chance that this front office knows it's it. This is it. It's over. But they still might be forced to make that move that I'm really scared that they're going to make just to appease the general consumer of this team.
That's a great point. And also my nightmare scenario is that this team finishes average or just below that, and they still have Gabe Vincent and Max Strus on the roster, because that is the worst thing this team can do. You either have to suck and sell everything, like these guys have been saying, so you don't lose them for nothing, or you got to package Jimmy or Bam to get some sort of big package. The worst thing you can do is finish average or below it, and then you lose these guys for nothing. That's the nightmare scenario in my mind. Shout out to HM for the $5 dono, who says someone like Christian Wood or Jeremy Grant would have been a huge help to Jimmy in this roster to at least be competitive. Pat failed again big time. You certainly would think so, and I guarantee you they wouldn't be 3 games under 500 at this spot if they would have got one of those guys. So we do have a call on the line. Shout out to our guy, Luke from Miami. We appreciate all the donations. So first, please tell me how to pronounce your name correctly, and then you can go ahead and ask these guys your question.
Oh, okay. It's Luke Apollon. It's actually a Haitian last name. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good.
Good. So should I just go now?
Yeah. Go ahead. Ask you guys your question. What do you got?
Yeah. So pretty much, I'm just going to say what is the process, or what is the Heat thinking in obviously all these undrafted guys? Like, I understand the try hard approach and so on and so forth, but what would it take to get some actual talent or get some actual free agents? Because I feel like the Heat pass up on a lot of free agents, like a lot of fours, Jeremy Grant, and so on and so forth. What would it take as of right now to get that to happen? Or would the Heat even make that happen? Or would we just ride out with Caleb at the 4 and just Duncan and not make a move?
Look, I'll answer that real quick. They need to get slapped in the face, just like they are this season, where everything goes wrong. I'm not even kidding. Where everything goes wrong for them and they lose pieces. They need to go through an entire season, which is shameful, by the way, because you already did it in 2021. Learned your lesson, got PJ Tucker on this team, had a successful season, and then you just ran it back and you're making that same mistake as you did before. It's a shameful mistake for a seasoned front office like this to have made. And so if you are doing this whole thing, this repeated circus act of thinking that you're going to turn some sort of dust into gold, and you think it's going to keep happening over and over and over and over again, you need to get slapped in the face for an entire season in order to learn your lesson. And I got slapped in the face as a child, and that's how I learned my lesson. And the Heat have to do this exact same thing and go through this exact same dance. So unfortunately, I think they're going to have to take it for this year.
Yeah, I'll jump in on that. I feel like it's just part of it is part of, for lack of a better term, the Heat culture to want to find these diamonds in the rough and prop them up to be better than, other people perceive them to be going into their draft and them going undrafted. And that's fine. Like, finding these guys and having them be solid contributors on a championship team is what you want. You want to be able to find those guys, but you don't want those guys to be able to push past their designated role. And so that's sort of what we're doing at this point. We're asking, Max to come off the bench, and he's got to be the guy that averages 18 off the bench, and Caleb has to guard the 4, and he also has to guard point of attack defense, and he has to get 6 rebounds too, and Jimmy has to average 35 points a game for this team to be more than they are. And in a perfect world, you just find 1 or 2 of these guys, you get them in, and they contribute to the roster, and they are their
I'll hop in real quick. The answer to your question, we need to make Pat Riley 2006 again and start caring about putting rings on the table and telling dudes to come to beautiful South Beach, Miami, or wherever, and win some championships, and not just decide we're going to create the Sioux Falls G League All-Star roster and have it as our bench every single year.
I got a question for you guys here while we by the way, the line is open. We'll probably take one more call here to get us right to about an hour. So make sure to call in at the number you see below, and we'll get you guys. But a name that's been kind of controversial on Heat Twitter, probably too much so for a guy his caliber, a guy I personally liked. A lot of people didn't, and he's still out there, even though that team has been absolutely balling. What do you guys think about Harrison Barnes? And I'm almost certain you wouldn't do it.
No.
Does Harrison Barnes make this a championship team?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And when I'm saying they're going to make a move to appease you, the general fan who shows up brain dead.
I don't want him no more. No,
and cheers with the flags. That's you. I'm talking about you, and you.
Not no more. Not no more. Listen,
Harrison Barnes maybe gets you to the Eastern Conference Finals. You still don't win a championship. It's not worth the asset.
I don't even think Harrison Barnes hasn't played like meaningful basketball since 2016, 17?
Hey, they won 7 in a row.
Man. And he did a good job, and he got paid, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this Harrison Barnes the Celtics are really, really good. The East is stacked. Cleveland would kick our ass in a 4-game series. We saw it tonight. It won't change with Harrison Barnes. Like, I don't think so, man. And I liked Harrison Barnes like 2 years ago. He's on that list of guys that we talk about when all the superstars aren't available, that the Heat just want to maybe consider him, PJ Washington, Miles Turner, Jordan Clarkson, all these dudes. But none of them are actually pushing the needle. Otherwise, they would have already gotten fucking traded. a contender would have traded for Harrison Barnes if he was the real difference maker, or Jordan Clarkson or Miles Turner or Buddy Hield. But all these dudes are just stuck in limbo because nobody can actually decide if they're the needle mover or not. So I don't think so.
And you know what's hilarious about it all is people are going to watch this over and say, wow, you guys really have no respect for the Heat front office and what they've done for this city, and how they brought a championship, 3 championships over the last 15, 16 years, and how without Pat Riley and Spo and all them, this would be a football town that without a football team even playing well for the last 20 years, you know? And I think that's very disrespectful to even bring up, because we are very much aware of what the front office has done for the Heat over the last 20 years or so. And we're just not looking at the past anymore, right? We're looking at today. We're looking at what will win this team a championship the soonest, not what has won this team a championship in the past. And I don't know. We can cry about it, and hey, who knows? Without Spo, without Pat Riley, if they were to go away, we would be a lottery team for sure. And we would be stuck in purgatory for the next 3 or 4 years. But I'd rather be stuck in purgatory knowing that this is still the Miami Heat and that the foundation of this team, this culture is still intact, knowing that we're still a free agent destination, and having that on our side, and knowing that the success of bringing in undrafted guys and picking the right guys in the draft is still there, then force-feeding a Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry-led team and sort of being stuck in the mud that way. I'd rather be stuck in lottery purgatory for a few years, betting on the Heat franchise as a whole than betting on Pat Riley and the Jimmy Butler build as it stands.
Before we get to our last caller here, we got a couple more donos. So shout out to Donnerson Duran Jr., who said Heat front office is full of a bunch of delusional psychopaths. Pat ain't been the same since his daddy Braun left him.
See, I don't agree with that. Like they made the finals, right? They made the finals. They made Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals. Do you know how many teams would give up the opportunity to do that right now, just to go to the finals and then make Game 7 of an Eastern Conference Final? A ton, right? But those are teams that are horrible. The Kings, right? The Magic, whatever. The teams that have no success, no chance of doing that at all. That's where I tiptoe the line between saying stuff like that and what I'm saying right now. I appreciate the money and we appreciate the support, but I disagree with that side of it. Like, those psychopaths got you to a Game 7. Those psychopaths got you to the finals, right? But they're not the psychopaths that would get you to the championship. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, if you want to say that Pat is presently senile, I'll hear you out, but I wouldn't go as far as to say delusional psychopaths. Shout out to Darius Jordan again for the $2 dono, who said Miami front office is actually going away from what one stuff.
Exactly.
That's an interesting. Yep, because Pat Riley and Erik, or I guess mostly so Pat Riley, he doesn't seem to be as cutthroat as he once was 20 years ago. Pat Riley 20 years ago would have never given all that money to Deion Waiters and James Johnson. He would have known what those guys are and traded them before they walked. Same thing with Max Strus or Gabe Vincent this season. Obviously, that remains to be seen how he plays that. But go ahead, and Alex, you were saying something on this.
I mean, he just lean into your strengths. He gutted this roster for Shaquille O'Neal, deservingly so and rightfully so. Like,
Alex, it's not even just the Heat strengths, it's the league strengths. Look at the last 15 years. A champion is always made by making the big move. Whatever team has the balls to make that move. The Warriors got Wiggins, and they made those moves. They tanked for a year, and they won a championship out of it. The year before that, the Bucks, they got Drew Holiday, won the championship. The year after, the Lakers traded for Anthony Davis, won the championship. Warriors got KD. Warriors again got KD. Cavs got LeBron, Kyrie, and Love. Like, we can go all the way back.
And go all the way back to the Heat. We got LeBron. We got Bosh. Then we traded for Shaquille O'Neal. Like, he knows this. He knows how to win in this league. And also, just alone from that, his strength is also free agency. Getting guys to Miami, supposedly. That's his strength. Drafting and developing players. So why are you moving picks and locking yourself into guys who are undrafted when you know that's your strength? That you can find dudes to replace them, that you hit on these draft picks. It just doesn't make sense. That's the only delusional part that I see, is that you're not leaning into your strengths, that you're going away from how you built and how you won this organization. Like, I thought we were the team that never shied away from that big move that you were talking about. We're the reason why our fan base on Twitter always has the fucking jersey swaps, because we're the team that is always in it to potentially make the big move. And they haven't done it in so fucking long. Even when we got Jimmy Butler here, it was always, okay, who are we pairing with Jimmy? A long time ago, it was Kyrie. We were talking about that for a little bit. Bradley Beal, all the way back. Like, we were always talking about pairing it. Jimmy exceeds expectations, and you don't reward that. I don't understand. This is so not like them. And I don't want to say it's cooked, but like my name says, like that's how it feels. It feels like that this team doesn't operate how they used to. And I don't know it's because, again, no luxury tax shit. That's not how the Heat used to operate. Like, there has been some sort of philosophical organizational change despite the same people being there. And I think they're realizing that, you know what, we're just not better than everybody else. That we have to win just like everybody else has to win in this league by spending money and making the big fucking move and doing what winning organizations do. And they used to do it, and they haven't done it in years.
We got one final caller here for the night. Special one. Caller, go ahead, ask your question, man.
Hey, man, I don't know if there's much of a question, but I hear a lot of brothers on here spitting tonight. Question for the panel would be, do y'all think it's time to cash in on the big chip, which is Jimmy Butler, and take 2 steps back, take 1 step forward?
Who was the caller's name? I think we missed that.
My name is Alfonso Fonseca. I'm one of the best. I'm one of the conquistadors from the East.
Well, Alfonso, that's a fantastic question, and it's one that we actually answered within the first 15 minutes of the stream. I don't think if you were listening, you would know. But we did say, we all unanimously agreed, trade Jimmy Butler, take the 2 steps back to take the 3 steps forward. We agree, and I think we all say yes to that, right, guys?
Not me, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm big on the trade Jimmy. I've been preaching this, for a couple weeks, as I said. So, trade Jimmy, get as much as you can for him.
I think I'll probably be there in the off season, but I don't know. This man does special shit, bro. I don't know. He does special shit in the playoffs. So it's just, he's the only one that I look at that night in, night out at his absolute best is the only hope that I have of feeling like it's fucking 2012 and 2013 again. So maybe it's that. I'll never get out of my head him going toe to toe with LeBron James. That was like, it's just what it is. I don't know.
I just love how the only time that Adam has ever addressed a will is by putting up the comment that says he'll.
I haven't put that up there.
Is that you, Alex?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay. Shout out to my boy Will, and shout out to that caller. Obviously, our dog Kendall calling, and we appreciate it. I do want to say,
you mean Alfonso Fonseca? Come on.
I don't even remember that name.
His name wasn't. His name wasn't Kendall. All right, let's not be racist. All right.
That is 2. I got one more strike before I'm out of here. Anyways, real quick on the Jimmy thing, though. I was at the point most of the time I was saying, don't trade Jimmy. You win with the best of the best. And it's hard to get one of those players. You have one in Jimmy Butler. And if you lose him, you might not get a guy like him for a very, very long time. But regardless, I sit here, I watch this team, and it's hard for me to think with every game that passes that they could ever surround him with enough talent to win, especially when you see him keep getting hurt again and again. And as Adam said, this isn't going to be his first injury this year. It's not going to be his last. And the older you get, the more games you play, the further you go into the playoffs, you're not going to get any healthier. So to wrap this stream up, though, I do want to get everybody's quick thoughts about their game tomorrow versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Just because you thought you played a big team tonight, my God, is that Minnesota team huge on the front line. Now, I personally think Rudy Gobert is a complete bum, and I also know that team hasn't been playing spectacular. But regardless, I want to get everybody's thoughts here. We'll go ahead and start with Alex S.
Yeah, this is going to be another big L. The T-Wolves are dysfunctional in a variety of ways. And while I agree that Rudy Gobert is a bum, his main issue is that he can't come out and guard wings. Who the fuck is playing wing for us right now? There's no one. They're all hurt. What is it? Caleb? Is Caleb playing wing? Max Strus? He doesn't have to worry about these guys. There's 4 A's. Yeah, so it's like Cat and Rudy are gonna probably have 20 rebounds each. I am so beyond depressed at this point in the season. Like, we are both bad and we are hurt, and there's no upside in sight. And to Adam's point, it does feel like they're going to be making that dumb trade to appease the fan base. So I don't have much to look forward to, and I certainly don't have much to look forward to tomorrow night, because I genuinely feel like Anthony Edwards is just going to destroy our wings.
Yep. Hard for me to disagree. I do want to shout out, though, interesting comment from JGB. Respect SGA.
Knicks exist. The Knicks exist.
Also, the Thunder have just as many wins as we do. If they should be tanking, so should we.
You stole the words right out of my mouth, Adam and Alex. I was going to say, my God, of course we'd like SGA. He's a win-now player. He's a guy you could build around as well. But how would the Heat beat the Knicks? How would they beat really any team? You see the asset. Our biggest trade chip in the offseason is Tyler Herro, who hasn't even played a game in a couple of weeks, and who knows when he's going to come back. No one even saw him got hurt. That's our biggest
trade. Jimmy Butler.
So as much as we would all like SGA, because, man, he's having just an amazing season. Yeah, he's having an amazing season. It's hard to believe they'd ever be able to get the assets to get a guy as coveted as SGA is going to be. But we do appreciate the donation. Also, shout out Darius Jordan again, who said, who getting dunked on by Ant-Man like Gabe last year? That was
Jovic.
a charge. Jokic, he quite literally would cause physical harm if
Jovic.
He quite literally would cause harm. But that was a charge, and they called it a charge. So I'm gonna stick by that. Alex Maserati, we feeling good tomorrow? Feeling anything for tomorrow?
You can't, like, I do appreciate the question where it's like, do we feel good like going to the next game? But like the entire season, I'm just going to continue to say no. Like, I don't feel good playing against the Wizards right now. I don't feel good playing against the Hornets. We're in dogfights with them too. Like, the T-Wolves are absolutely dysfunctional. Like Alex S was talking about, they're in turmoil this year. They're up and down, unclear how the cat thing is working out under new ownership and everything. They won't look dysfunctional tomorrow night. Rudy Gobert is a complete bum. He won't look like a bum tomorrow night. Anthony Edwards is having a down year and can't get to the paint. He'll get to the paint tomorrow night. Like, this is a perfect opportunity for the Minnesota Timberwolves to get their fucking mojo back. And that's exactly what will happen tomorrow. We are a bad matchup for them all across the board. They're a bad matchup for us all across the board.
Before we get to Adam's prediction here, we do got one more donation from JGB Respect again, who says, do you guys think the Herro extension was good or bad? I'll go ahead and let Adam speak on that, and he can kind of give his thoughts on the tomorrow's game too. What do you got?
Yeah. Well, to answer your question about tomorrow's game, no, I'm not going to answer your question. This question, though, I think it's fair to ask. Donovan Mitchell, once he got traded, the Herro extension was good. If Donovan didn't get traded, the extension would have been horrible. And I think that's the best way to describe it. If you're not winning a championship with this core, giving Tyler Herro an extension was the correct outcome, which is why it leads me to believe that we're entering the final stages of the Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry build.
Who else got that? Adam or Alex?
I'm just pissed because he got an extension after winning an award that, multiple Hall of Famers like Jordan Clarkson and Montrezl Harrell won, and Lou Williams and Eric Gordon and Jamal Crawford. All those guys are getting gold jackets, and Herro will be right up there next to them because, the sixth man of the year is the new MVP.
He didn't get the extension because of the reward, though. Come on, Alex. Like, that's not why he got paid.
Why not?
He got paid because he's a talented player. I mean, you could say whether he's overpaid or not, but at the end of the day, he's a guy that can score 3 levels. Not a lot of guys in the league can do that.
100%. And when he's in the starting lineup, the team looks like they've never played with each other before. And he makes them considerably worse when he's starting. And Roy, bro, I wasn't on this. Royal was on this first, saying to bench Tyler Herro and have him come off the bench. He is absolutely right on that. Just for the flow of the team. The ball moves better when he's not out there. And if that's the case, if Tyler Herro is going to continue to come off the bench and he is better.
Ball moved real well tonight, Alex.
You cannot fucking pay him that contract. You let Sacramento do it. You let anybody else fucking do it, and you sign and trade him. But if he was going to be a starter and put 28 a game a night, 100%. But this team does not move the ball without him. Strus is having just as good as a fucking year. And yeah, Tyler Herro can hit some contested jumpers. He can't do shit in the clutch since he torched Marcus Smart in the bubble. He has not hit some clutch shit since that game winner that he traveled on. That shit does not count, bro. That shit does not fucking count. Don't clip me that shit when we've got 7
Is
wins.
that what injured him? Was that the last time?
I don't know what injured him, bro, because we don't know. It could have just been him walking out of the facility. It could have been him taking some Instagram pics. He could have recorded a music video with Jack fucking Harlow. We don't know how this dude gets hurt because he warms up every fucking night, looks the same each day in, day out, still can't play defense, still got short arms, still doesn't hit shit in the clutch, still has no bag, still can't get around a screen. I told him on Twitter, 28 a game or take the song off Spotify, and he's not even going to have a good year as Strus, bro. Strus is better than him right now. The team likes Strus more. They like playing with Strus more. Spo likes coaching Strus more. Tyler Herro got hurt and got called out by the coach before he had a good fucking game, bro. It was never extend him, bro. It was always trade him for Donovan. It was always trade him for anybody fucking else, man. And I liked Tyler Herro. I got the jersey. I bought into the hype. But, bro, this man has not improved. This man comes out here, says he got a little bit stronger, got hurt again. I don't know what the flying fuck the Heat thought they were doing by giving this man this money. Let him prove it as a starter. Let him prove it as a starter. What's wrong with letting a guy play out the last year of his contract? What is more of a motivator in this league than money? Dudes who need another contract. Dion Waiters, Kelly Olynyk, James Johnson. We know this. When dudes need another contract, they hoop. We gave this man his money, his security, when we have no money, when we have no security. And how did he reward us? He's been hurt with an ankle for 2 fucking weeks, bro. For 2 fucking weeks. Something that would keep Bam Adebayo out, maybe a play or 15 fucking seconds. Like, let's just keep it real. This dude is warming up every fucking night, not traveling with the team. You have the money. You got the extension. You need to be the dude that's playing 75 plus games. You're the 22-year-old. Come on, bro. Come on. Just do it. Just play. If you play like shit, whatever. We already knew you were shit anyway. Like, just come on, man. I don't know. Like, yeah, I get like the Jordan Poole thing. Someone in the comments talking about Jordan Poole. Yeah, Jordan Poole got more than him. Jordan Poole's having a better year than him, bro. Just call it. I mean, like, look, let's be real. He's playing. Jordan Poole is playing basketball. We are not even
playing like shit.
Okay, he's playing. We don't even know if
yeah, he's still playing.
He's still playing. They're getting answers. We get no fucking answers. He is one of the 3 most talented players on this team, which is a joke in itself. And he does not come to work. He doesn't come to work, bro. He doesn't come to work. And he gets paid a lot of money to come to work. And I'm not trying to harp on a dude for injuries because I understand if you're hurt, it's tough to play. But at a certain point, bro, Adam, you've talked about this. Every year this shit falls off the bone, bro. How is Kyle Lowry playing more games than you? It doesn't make sense.
And then you know what's funny? Funny? They're going to get healthy at some point, and they're going to say, we're going to go on a run, right? But then by then, it'll be game like 94, and Kyle Lowry will have like 1 leg left to stand on, and he'll be so tired from carrying the team for the last 70 games. Anyways.
And on top of that, Herro won't even fit with the lineup. You can literally see it. Like, you don't have to have, like fucking analytics. You don't need to see the synergy to see this shit, bro. Look at how they play with Strus. Look at how they play with Herro. Look at Strus.
And then a Barry Jackson article will come out when he go 5-5 with Tyler Herro coming back into the lineup and starting. And the article will state, he are still in figuring it out stage with Tyler Herro in lineup. Tyler says, we need time to gel.
We need time to gel. It's only been your entire career. You've played with these guys the entire time. You've been working out with Jimmy at 3 a.m. since you were 19, correct? Y'all still don't know how to play with each other. I don't know. There's no more answers, bro. There just needs to be action.
Alex, are you going to be able to sleep tonight? Are you going?
No, I can't sleep tonight, bro. Y'all caught me on a good day because I didn't watch the Miami Dolphins dominate the NFL today. So I unfortunately really had to hone in on the Miami Heat today, something that I haven't necessarily had to do the last few days. Yeah, I'm going to pack Tyler Herro up. I'm also going to pack Kyle Lowry's fat ass up. I appreciate your 38 minutes a game. I think you're a champion for doing so. You still stink. You're still awful. I still trust Caleb Martin shooting a 3 more than I trust you. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But listen, man, this whole team needs to be packed up outside of Jimmy and Bam. I can't get mad at Bam because, he does his thing and he carries the team defensively when Dewayne Dedmon, the analytical antichrist, checks in the game and nothing can get done. But this team is completely cooked. And Pat Riley, I don't know, bro. I don't know. Make Pat Riley 2006 again. I'm going to get that.
Well, I want to save a lot of this because we have a game tomorrow that's probably going to be god-awful ugly. So maybe we can get Alex back on to talk about that. But we do know now why Alex is so salty. It's because he spent $120 on a Herro jersey and the man doesn't even play. Because saying he has no bag, that's crazy, Alex. I mean, that's pretty – saying he has no bag is pretty crazy.
I haven't seen him make a guy miss. I haven't seen him drop somebody to the floor. I haven't seen him blow somebody on the rim. He hits contested shots, and he hits them all the time because he's been shooting contested shots his whole fucking life because he's not athletic and he's got short arms. I take contested shots my whole fucking life because I'm not athletic and I got short arms, bro. I fucking relate. You got no bag.
That's his bag, though. That's my point. Shout out to Darius Jordan.
Tyler Herro, though. He gets paid fucking $25+ million to do it. I'm talking about him sucking.
For the $2 dono, our guy Darius Jordan says Jordan Poole is the NBA champion. Listen, man, I don't care about Jordan Poole. I still don't think he's better than Tyler Herro. That's why I stand on that. Shout out to Alex Campbell for the 2. Shout out to Darius Jordan. Did we skip a dono? Where am I at? Yeah, I think we skipped the dono. Shout out to Alex Campbell for the $1.99 dono who said the team is holding Tyler out, not himself.
Because he sucks. And they don't like playing with him. Maybe that would make some sense, actually.
It's certainly tough for me to speculate on that. I mean, I don't know Tyler Herro's tendencies or whether or not of that. So I don't want to speak on that. But Alex brought up a good point. We never know how this man gets hurt. It could have been posting a selfie. It could have been posted up with Cat. He's got 2 kids. Maybe the man's tired. He don't want to play no games. I don't know. That's not for me to speculate. But Alex,
Adam, do you want to speculate on Tyler Herro's current injury status, or you got anything for us?
I just only thing I'll speculate about is that I got a quote 2 years ago from a player, and I said it then, so I don't have any shame saying it again. But a player did say he's not the humble. What was it? He's not the humble baller that we thought he was. That's all.
Who thought Tyler Herro was humble?
His rookie year.
He portrays himself in the media as a humble guy. I will say.
He got really big after the bubble because deservingly so. He balled the fuck out. He cooked Marcus Smart. It was insane. And listen, he got a brand from that. Jack Harlow made the fucking song and nothing, literally, Jack Harlow made the fucking song and nothing has been good since. Nothing.
Well, that's why I think
Jack Harlow's catching strays on tonight's stream.
I don't think none of us would do it just because we understand it's marginal improvement, but I think we all would agree Kyle Kuzma would be a nice fit here. But I always wondered how the dynamic between him and Tyler would be with
there it is again. No, there it is again with you and the general consumer. You with those, you just want the team to look pretty and you want to get there at the game 15 minutes earlier with your little flags and go, ooh, go Heat, as they beat the Washington Wizards by 3. And then you're going to get on the stream and say, wow, what a win. This team is back.
Is that what you think I sit in the stands with a damn flag waving it and smacking the little noisemakers?
Two flags. You sit there like this. Yeah, that's you. That's all right.
I would like Harrison Barnes, but he would be a marginal improvement.
Do the wave on the Jumbotron, like that's you.
I can't stand the wave, especially when his team is losing. It's actually quite little things that piss me off more than the wave. Shout out to Darius Jordan again for the $5 dono, who said Bam screens is Tyler's bag. There's a lot of hate on Twitter and this comment session even today about how Tyler cannot score without a screen. I really think the general audience, listen, Tyler has his faults, and yes, he's overpaid. Yes, he can't play defense, all this and that, but to say that he doesn't have an offensive bag or can never score without screens, I think is just a little bit.
He's got a nice layup package now. I wish I got to see it more, but.
Hey, and you're doing a horrible job hosting because we should have ended this 20 minutes ago.
Shout out to JGB Respect, who said, the people love you, Adam. They won't start giving donos. Otherwise we would have, but we do appreciate it though. Shout out to JGB Respect.
On there right now. Bye guys.
Said I'm someone who wouldn't trade